Have you ever found yourself, trapped, nodding along to some conversation you desperately want to escape?
Oh, definitely.
Or maybe reaching for your wallet out of sheer guilt, even when something inside is screaming no?
Hmm.
What about saying yes to, say, a second date when you knew deep down it wasn't really what you wanted?
Yeah, that feeling.
If any of that sounds familiar, well, you are absolutely not alone. There's this surprising common thread running through all these things. It's a pattern we call people-pleasing.
That's right.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into Haley McGee's really insightful book, Stop People Pleasing and Find Your Power.
Great book.
And this isn't just about, being polite. It's about uncovering this pervasive pattern that can secretly drain your energy and disconnect you from, well, your authentic self.
It really can.
So our mission in this deep dive is basically to give you a shortcut. A shortcut to really understanding what people-pleasing is, where it comes from, and maybe most importantly, a clear roadmap for how to actually break free from it.
Yeah, the how-to is key.
Get ready to uncover some, I think, surprising facts and gain some practical, actionable insights you can use right away to live a more authentic and hopefully connected life.
Oh, good.
So let's start by looking at what this pattern actually looks like day to day. Because it can be surprisingly subtle, can't it?
Oh, absolutely. Very subtle sometimes.
The book kicks off with some really vivid stories that kind of expose the hidden costs of what seems like just harmless politeness.
Yeah, those anecdotes are powerful.
Like imagine being on a sidewalk, arms full of groceries, sweating, and a Greenpeace canvasser is talking your ear off about polar bears.
Been there.
And all you want is to escape, but you're stuck there being polite, and then you feel you have to reach for your wallet out of guilt, and then your bag splits.
Oh, no. The worst timing.
Right. Or another one. You're at a music venue, trying to see your friend's band, but you're trapped at the bar for like 35 minutes listening to a stranger talk about his 12 guitars.
Excruciating, yeah.
Or even agreeing to that second date, and maybe 4 more, just out of guilt, even though you know it's not what you want.
That sense of obligation.
Exactly.
And what's fascinating here is how the source defines people-pleasing. It's not, a mental illness. It's framed as an ingrained behavioral pattern.
Okay, a pattern.
Yeah, often unconscious. It can
Right.
feel so natural that, honestly, many people don't even have a word for it. That's part of why it's so insidious.
Right, you don't even recognize it.
Exactly. And it shows up so differently for everyone, too. Someone might feel totally confident, really authentic at work, but then become quite passive in their romantic relationships.
Ah, okay.
Others, they have no trouble speaking up with friends, but maybe struggle to set boundaries with, say, family members. And then for some people, it colors every single area of their lives: work, romance, friends, family, community. It's really a spectrum.
Wow, okay. That's incredible how varied it can be. So when we see this pattern showing up in all these different ways, how does it get so, well, deeply ingrained in us? Where does it start?
That's a really crucial question. And the book highlights several origins, starting, often, very early, in childhood.
Okay, childhood. Makes sense.
For instance, childhood trauma can lead people to develop something called hypervigilance.
Hypervigilance.
Yeah, it's like a constant, almost subconscious scanning of others' moods, looking for subtle shifts, signs of danger. Survivors often become, experts at reading other people's emotions.
Right, it's a survival skill.
Exactly. But the downside is they often struggle to identify their own feelings. It leads to this profound disconnection from their inner world. And specific parenting styles contribute too, like kids who consistently act as supporters or confidants for a parent. They often struggle to develop their own sense of identity. They kind of become saviors or fixers as adults.
Ah, the helper role.
And likewise, emotionally immature caregivers, parents who maybe can't regulate their own emotions well, can cause kids to neglect their own feelings and needs. They become chronic listeners, chronic helpers.
That's quite sobering, thinking how those early experiences can really shape these patterns. But it sounds like it's not just our individual upbringing. Society itself plays a role.
Oh, absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, gender norms, for example, they have these deeply embedded expectations.
Right.
For women, there are historical expectations around, silence, self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
And those still strongly influence societal norms today.
Still today, yeah.
And for men, there are different but equally powerful norms. Things like suppressing emotions, showing no weakness.
The strong and silent type.
Exactly. There was a 2019 study, I think, that found like 58% of men feel they're expected to be emotionally strong, show no weakness, and 38% avoided talking about feelings so they wouldn't seem unmanly.
Wow.
And that creates these really painful disconnections. It cuts men off from their own feelings, their vulnerability, which makes building truly intimate connections quite difficult.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then there are systemic issues, too. They contribute significantly.
Yeah.
Things like discrimination against LGBTQ+ folks or neurodivergent people. It can make authentic self-expression feel like a privilege, not a right.
Because it's not safe.
Precisely. When the risks of just being yourself include maybe losing your job or even physical violence, well, prioritizing safety through masking or conforming might feel like the only option.
Right.
People from more collectivist cultures, too, might struggle to reconcile group values like community, sacrifice with more individualistic ones like autonomy and setting boundaries.
That's a conflict right there.
And poverty, economic hardship, that can also force people to prioritize basic survival over self-advocacy. These are all really crucial factors that shape how people navigate their needs, and the book presents them, impartially, just as part of the broader context.
It's really quite sobering to see how deep these roots go, from childhood right up to these big societal forces. But, okay, if we keep living this way, what are the real, tangible costs to our well-being?
Well, the chronic prioritization of others. It just leaves very little energy for self-care. And the toll can be severe.
Severe how?
It can lead to significant physical and mental health issues. Things like anxiety, depression, chronic stress, even heart disease, gastrointestinal problems, autoimmune diseases, often linked to that constant suppression of emotions.
Wow, physical health too.
Absolutely. It means neglecting our physical needs like rest, healthy meals, our financial needs, maybe lending money we don't actually have.
Yeah, out of obligation.
Exactly. And our emotional needs, too, by consistently getting into relationships with, say, emotionally unavailable partners or friends. Over time, these neglects just pile up. They leave us feeling depleted, chronically burned out.
That sounds like a really heavy price to pay. But okay, the good news is we can break free, right? The book gives us a roadmap.
Absolutely, yes. There's definitely a path forward, and it starts with some foundational inner work.
Okay, inner work first.
And the very first step, which I think feels incredibly powerful, is finding your deepest why.
Your deepest why. What does that mean exactly?
It's your most important, most motivating reason for wanting to break this pattern. It's like the version of yourself you genuinely want to become. It acts as a really powerful anchor.
An anchor, I like that.
Yeah. In workshops, people have shared things like wanting to be a strong role model for their children so their kids know how to speak up for themselves.
Oh, that's powerful.
Or breaking an intergenerational pattern, maybe of women in their family staying silent, never pursuing their own dreams. When you know your deepest why, it becomes this really clear reminder during difficult moments. It anchors you to your purpose.
That makes so much sense, having that North Star to guide you through the tough bits. But, okay, for many people who've spent years putting others first,
Yeah.
how do you even know what you're feeling if you've been suppressing emotions for so long?
Right. That's a huge hurdle. And this is where the concept of embodied emotions comes in. It's often a real aha moment for people.
Embodied emotion.
Yeah. The source reveals that we all actually experience emotions similarly in our bodies, regardless of culture. There was this fascinating Finnish study in 2018.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, neuroscientists found these universal emotional signatures in the body. Specific sensations linked to specific emotions, like heat in the chest for anger, maybe heaviness for sadness.
Huh. So we feel it physically.
Exactly. So the practice is just to pause. Put your phone aside, maybe, and just attune to your body. Ask yourself, okay, what feelings are these sensations communicating to me right now?
Just check in.
Just check in. And when difficult emotions feel strong, you can offer yourself a loving reminder, something simple like, this feeling won't last forever. It's a small but really powerful act of self-soothing. Think about the book mentions Rava. She usually buried her anger from calls with her mom under, emails and wine.
Right, avoidance.
Total avoidance. But by pausing, tuning into her body, and then actually venting to her sister, she found her anger flared up really intensely. But then it also died down. It showed her that befriending her emotions, rather than trying to outrun them, was actually possible.
So feeling it helps it pass.
Kind of, yeah. Or look at Audrey, who is navigating this super busy time work family. She set alarms. 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m., every day.
Alarms for feelings.
Yeah. The notification just said, what am I feeling at this very moment? At first, she said it was jarring. Took her a while to even find her feelings. But with practice, she got quicker at just acknowledging her own emotional reality.
Just building the muscle.
Exactly. Or Lars, after his divorce, he ducked away into his childhood bedroom during a family gathering just to allow his sadness to surface. He just listened to his body, let the mask drop for a bit. Taking that physical space can be a really powerful act of self-care.
So our feelings are kind of like signposts then, pointing to something deeper, our needs.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. But for many people pleasers, I imagine need feels like, I don't know, almost a dirty word. Why is that?
It's fascinating how the book explains this. People pleasers often internalize this idea that having needs is a weakness, or maybe even selfish, especially if their caregivers didn't really appreciate their needs when they were kids.
Ah, so it's learned.
Often, yeah. Many learn to take pride in how little they need, preferring to focus on others' hardships instead. But neglecting your own needs, it has these really ruinous impacts. It inevitably leads to unhappiness, depletion, burnout, a state many people pleasers know all too well.
That feeling of being drained.
Totally drained. And we often discount our needs in these common kind of insidious ways. Like the book mentions Mel. Her husband sometimes joked about her weight, and she'd laugh along, but secretly she was deeply upset.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. And when she thought about addressing it, she'd immediately think about friends in, say, abusive relationships and tell herself, oh, I should just feel lonely to have him at all.
Minimizing her own feelings.
Exactly. Or Rory, who works at this prestigious marketing firm. She'd really benefit from weekly meetings with her busy manager, Kenny. But she just anticipates he won't have time, so she struggles in silence, never asks.
Assuming the no.
So the key, as the book shows, is to replace those old, disempowering stories. Maya, for instance, used to believe, I'm a problem because I'm sensitive.
Oof, yeah.
She powerfully replaced it with, I'm allowed to need more than just the bare minimum required to survive. And that shift allowed her to confidently text a friend suggesting drinks instead of just automatically agreeing to go to a club that felt way too loud for her.
That's a huge shift in self-perception, just changing that internal story. And it sounds like our needs are really deeply tied to our values then, and how we see ourselves.
They absolutely are. Our values are like those anchors again, grounding us firmly, even when feelings and circumstances change all around us.
Okay.
The book makes a useful distinction between embodied values, the ones you already practice regularly, and aspirational values, the ones you truly hope to practice more in the future.
Embodied and aspirational. Got it.
And there's a helpful exercise for uncovering these values. You can review your lifestyle, your habits, your relationships, just take stock of what you already embody. Or you can try rewriting a memory.
Rewriting a memory. How does that work?
You think of a time where you didn't embody an aspirational value, maybe you didn't speak up. Then you imagine how you would have acted differently, aligned with that value. You write it down, being specific about what you would have said or done. It's about consciously building these new neural pathways, these new narratives for yourself.
Building on that, the next step in this inner work sounds like updating our self-concept. Shifting away from identities like overgiver or chronic caretaker towards something like authentic or worthy of love.
Yes, our self-concept is incredibly powerful. And thankfully, it's quite malleable. It influences everything we do, but often restricts our sense of what's possible for us.
Right, it limits us.
It can, yeah. The book outlines a 5-step process for updating it, emphasizing that it's built with intention through incremental shifts. It involves collecting evidence of change.
Evidence? Like what?
Like actively identifying those negative self-stories you hold, and then finding data for new positive stories. A powerful way to do this is to ask trusted loved ones for feedback.
Yeah.
Ask them to recall times, no matter how small, where they saw you act confidently or stand up for yourself.
Getting outside perspective.
And celebrating small efforts daily. But she started jotting down things like, suggested to Annalise we try a new restaurant, or negotiated a lower price for the tomatoes at the farmer's market.
Tiny wins.
Tiny wins, exactly. But at the end of a month, reviewing a list like that can evoke this genuine sense of pride. It helps make that new, more authentic identity feel much closer to the truth. It starts to feel real.
So a crucial part of knowing yourself then is knowing what you actually want, not just what others expect or want from you.
Precisely. People pleasers often lose sight of their own desires because they unconsciously adopt others' wants. Now, healthy relationships involve expressing interest in each other's passions, of course.
Sure, naturally.
But when our lives get built entirely around others' hobbies and preferences, we become disconnected from our own desires, and consequently, disconnected from ourselves.
Right, you lose yourself.
Yeah. The book suggests daydreaming, as a kind of low-stakes way to rediscover your wants.
Daydreaming. Like, literally.
Kind of. Imagine waking up in a new world where your whole day is organized not by obligations, but by your deepest desires and joys. What would that look like?
Interesting exercise.
Or imagine winning, say, $10 million, but you can only spend it on yourself. How would you spend it? Gets you thinking outside the usual constraints.
Yeah.
And identifying the category of wants that feels most difficult for you to access. Maybe it's material wants, or interpersonal, temporal, physical, emotional, aesthetic, spiritual purpose, and then committing to attaining just one small want in that category. That can be truly transformative. Just one small step.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of that essential inner work. Finding your why, understanding emotions, needs, values, self-concept, desires. Now, from that foundation, we move towards action, like making requests. Sounds simple, but I bet it's a huge, vulnerable step for recovering people pleasers.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Huge. Requests are, at their core, attempts at collaboration. They're about giving others the crucial information they need to actually care for you properly.
You give them the info, okay.
Devlin's story in the book illustrates this radical transparency approach really well. He and his partner, JD, moved in together. Devlin's a construction foreman, totally exhausted after work, needs to decompress.
Right.
JD's a freelance writer, eager to chat after working alone all day. Classic clash.
Yeah, I can picture that.
Devlin worried about hurting JD's feelings. But one night over dinner, he just haltingly said something like, "Hey, when I get home from work, I'm usually really tired. I know you want to chat, but I just need to take a shower and relax a bit before I'm ready for a long conversation."
That took courage, I bet.
For sure. But that radical honesty, while vulnerable, gave JD the information he needed. He could adjust his expectations, rather than Devlin just silently resenting him.
Avoids the resentment buildup.
Exactly. Now, the book clarifies. Requests can be met positively. Sometimes they need occasional reminders. Or, of course, they might be unsuccessful.
Right, they might say no.
They might. And that leads to this idea of the cycle of endless requests. That's a common trap. We keep asking someone to change, feeling helpless when they don't.
Just asking again and again.
Yeah, instead of radically accepting, okay, their behavior isn't changing, and then taking meaningful action ourselves, we get stuck feeling like a victim of their choices, getting resentful, but just repeating the request instead of shifting our own actions.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so when those endless requests don't work, that's where boundaries come in. This feels like a really crucial turning point.
Indeed. Boundaries are essentially a declaration of self-respect.
Self-respect, okay.
They're about acknowledging, okay, this other person's behavior isn't changing, and then consciously regaining your power by deciding what you are and are not willing to tolerate.
Deciding what you will do.
Exactly. And this means enacting your boundaries, not just stating them. If you say you won't participate in gossip, then you actually exit the conversation when it starts.
You walk away.
You walk away. If you tell your mom you can't take calls during work hours, you let it go to voicemail. If you say you won't continue a conversation when your spouse is yelling, you calmly leave the conversation when they start yelling.
Action, not just words.
Right. And it's crucial to distinguish between fear-based disengaging, that's people-pleasing, and power-based disengaging, that's boundary setting.
Okay, fear versus power.
Fear-based thinking sounds like, oh, I'm afraid to speak up because I want them to like me. Power-based thinking shifts to, okay, I can't control how they treat me, but I can control how much negative treatment I choose to endure.
Taking control of your own response.
Naomi's story is a great example. Her sister Arya's partner, Ken, made sexist jokes. Naomi eventually set a boundary by choosing to reduce her participation in big family gatherings, opting for more one-on-one time with Arya instead.
Okay, changing her own behavior.
Exactly. And when Arya expressed disappointment, Naomi accepted that feeling, Arya's disappointment, but chose not to betray herself just to keep the peace. It's about choosing self-respect over someone else's temporary comfort.
Wow, that's a big shift. Now, beyond those external actions, there's also this concept of emotional boundaries. I imagine for many people pleasers, their emotions feel really tangled up with others.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Emotional boundaries create a healthy separation from other people's feelings. They prevent their stress or anxiety or sadness from just flooding into your own system.
Like a barrier.
Kind of, yeah. This often stems from childhood, where some kids learned they had to manage their caregiver's emotions just to stay safe.
Ah, back to childhood again.
Often, yeah. So as adults, this can show up as, like, offering unsolicited advice, jumping into conflicts that don't actually involve you, or doing whatever it takes to make someone else feel better, even if it goes against your own values.
Like saying yes to that second date.
Exactly. Or laughing at offensive jokes, giving money out of guilt or obligation, all that stuff.
Okay. So how do we build those emotional boundaries?
The book recommends a visualization, like a protective bubble. Amy's story illustrates this. When her mom, Sophia, calls to complain about her brother, Noah, Amy imagines this shimmering bubble around herself. She can hear her mother's words, but they don't penetrate the bubble. It helps her stay grounded, not absorb all that negativity.
A mental shield.
Pretty much. And Helga, whose father, Gene, was often rude to waitstaff during family dinners, she used this kind of inner work to then set an external boundary. She told her father she wasn't willing to sit with him if his behavior continued. So it's often an internal shift that enables the external action.
I see. So ultimately, what this all seems to boil down to is reclaiming our power means focusing really intently on what we actually can control.
Precisely.
Yeah.
We cannot change other people. The book is really clear on this. When people ask, how can I make them respect my boundaries, or how do I make them stop treating me badly, the simple answer is, you can't.
Oof, that's blunt.
It is, but it's liberating too, in a way. We can offer suggestions, we can make requests, but we cannot force them to respect our boundaries or treat us kindly. Our sphere of control is limited. It's our own actions, our reactions, our boundaries, and who we choose to be in relationship with.
So taking responsibility for ourselves.
Exactly. Taking responsibility for our own needs and being really honest about whether our relationships truly meet those needs. That's absolutely key to regaining our power and living authentically.
Okay. Now, breaking this people-pleasing pattern, especially after years, it's not always going to be easy, right? The book calls these the growing pains, those difficult emotions that inevitably come up during this healing journey.
The growing pains. And this is where radical acceptance comes in.
Radical acceptance.
Yeah. As the psychologist Tara Brackett defines it, it's clearly recognizing what is happening inside us and regarding what we see with an open, kind, and loving heart. It's about normalizing emotions like fear, guilt, anger, grief, loneliness, seeing them not as enemies, but as inevitable companions on the journey.
Companions, not enemies. That's a useful reframe.
It really is. By practicing radical acceptance, we transform that discomfort from this fierce opponent we have to fight into maybe an annoying but inevitable companion. It allows us to move through it rather than constantly fighting against it.
Okay, that reframing is helpful. Let's maybe explore some strategies for managing these specific tough emotions. What about fear? That deep-seated feeling that often holds us back.
Yeah, fear. When it gives us that tunnel vision, heart racing, chest tight. The book suggests two main things. First, remember the pain of staying the same. What's the cost of not changing?
Right. Motivate yourself with the alternative.
Exactly. And second, visualize assertive role models, people you admire who seem to handle these situations well.
Okay, role models.
Danica, for example, in the book, she was terrified to set a boundary with her new friend, Ula, because Ula hadn't really made other friends yet in Austin. Danica felt responsible.
The guilt trap.
Totally. But she imagined her straightforward friend, Callie. How would Callie handle this with direct kindness? Channeling Callie had Danica set the boundary, suggesting they get together a bit less frequently, but still maintaining the connection. Having that concrete example helped her overcome the fear. It showed that directness can be kind.
And what about guilt? That really sneaky, familiar feeling that often pulls us right back into the old patterns.
Guilt. Soothing guilt isn't about trying to make others happy with our choices. It's about remembering that prioritizing yourself is not just acceptable, it's actually necessary for genuinely healthy relationships.
Necessary, not selfish.
Right. Consider Janine's story. She felt immense guilt after breaking up with her partner, Kyle. She transformed this by consciously empathizing with herself, recalling her own disappointment in the relationship, remembering her long-term desire for a compatible partner.
Focusing on her own needs.
Yes. She recognized that disappointing Kyle in the short term was actually the only way for her to get what she needed in the long term. And physical exercise is highlighted too as a way to move stress and guilt out of the body. Janine went for a run, felt more grounded afterwards, even if the guilt hadn't vanished completely.
Move the energy. Okay, what about anger? That's an emotion people pleasers might have bottled up for a very, very long time.
Oh yes, anger. The book discusses moving from what it calls destructive anger, maybe lashing out or internalizing it towards creative anger.
Creative anger.
Yeah, finding catharsis through expression.
Yeah.
Journaling, poetry, art, even just talking it out, processing the realization of how maybe we used to make ourselves small, how we exchanged our comfort for people who didn't have our best interests at heart.
Right, reclaiming that energy.
Exactly. And sometimes, importantly, the book just acknowledges.
Mm.
Sometimes it just sucks. There's no quick fix for every difficult emotion, and acknowledging that can actually be a relief in itself. There are seasons that challenge us, seasons that restore us, and with every truth spoken, every boundary set, we edge closer to a season of strength and self-respect.
Mm. And naturally, changing these patterns, changing relationships, that can also mean facing grief, right?
Yeah.
Especially when connections shift or maybe even end.
Absolutely. Grief applies to any loss, not just death. Divorce, estrangement, leaving a job, or a community you were a part of. Even when we end unhealthy connections, we might feel this strange mix of loss, pride, sadness, and relief all at once.
It's complex.
Very. Mina's story illustrates this. She's divorcing her husband Gavin after 18 years. She experiences these waves of grief, seeing his empty side of the closet, the barren bedside table, remembering good times.
Oh, that's hard.
It is. But she also intentionally recalls moments of genuine happiness since the separation, especially with her children, seeing lightning bugs, getting ice cream. She actually records these moments to look back on when she needs a pick-me-up.
Focusing on the positive, too.
And the source describes this period sometimes as the valley, a time of disconnection, maybe loneliness where old connections have ended or shifted and new ones haven't quite formed yet.
The in-between space.
Exactly. It can feel awkward, maybe purposeless, like you're on a first date with a stranger and that stranger is your neglected self. But it's also presented as a powerful time for reconnection with yourself, for prioritizing those neglected wants, playing the piano again, using that massage gift certificate you got ages ago like Mina does. It's an opportunity to really design your own life on your own terms, establish new boundaries without the pressures of the old situation.
That idea of the valley as an opportunity, not just a void, is really profound. And it leads us nicely into thinking about the ultimate benefits then of breaking this people-pleasing pattern. What kind of positive changes can we actually expect to see?
Well, one of the greatest gifts, I think the book argues, is genuine intimacy.
Real connection.
Yeah. When we stop people-pleasing, we stop hiding behind that mask. We no longer feel unseen, unknown, haunted by that sense that maybe people adore the mask, but not our true selves.
That feeling of being an imposter.
Exactly. Ciara's story highlights this. She used to attract dominating partners because she'd play small, when dating, listening silently, deflecting questions about herself.
Making herself invisible.
Pretty much. But in her newer relationship with Nathan, she learned that conflict, something she used to avoid at all costs, actually became an opportunity for repair and building deeper trust. Like when she brought up feeling forgotten by him during a rafting trip.
Handling conflict constructively.
Yes. Successfully navigating things like that can be profoundly healing. It teaches you that you don't need to abandon yourself to be loved. That connection can survive honesty.
That's huge.
It really is. And it also means learning when to compromise in relationships, because no two people have identical needs, right? Healthy relationships require us to figure out, okay, what am I willing to give? What am I not willing to give? And exploring strategies to meet each other's needs enough without constantly pushing past our own limits.
Finding that balance.
The book even delves into sexual healing, addressing the pattern of consenting to unwanted sex out of people-pleasing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, whether it's for approval, avoiding rejection, or due to trauma, or those gendered expectations we talked about. It emphasizes how crucial it is to speak up about desires, even if it feels awkward. It suggests flipping the script.
Flipping the script.
Yeah, imagine your partner silently enduring unwanted touch just to please you. How would that feel? It really underscores the discomfort of non-consensual connection and highlights the importance of mutual, honest communication.
That's a powerful way to think about it. And finally, rediscovering play. It sounds like such a simple concept, maybe almost childish, but it sounds profoundly important for someone recovering from people-pleasing.
It's presented as an essential antidote, an antidote to that constant self-abandonment and chronic other focus.
An antidote, yeah.
Think about the word recreation. Its Latin roots mean to create again or to cure a sick person. It underscores play's revitalizing power.
Never thought of it like that.
Right. Grind culture often turns play into hustle. The goal becomes money or status. But genuine play is intrinsically motivated. We play not for some future outcome, but just for the sheer pleasure of the experience itself.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. And the book introduces these fun play personalities, different archetypes for how we naturally find joy. Stuart, for example, never thought just clicking through Wikipedia learning random facts was play. But then he realized, oh, I'm an explorer of ideas. That's his play personality.
Finding your own style of play.
Exactly. And cultivating white space is crucial. Time without external input, like just meandering walks without your phone or sitting quietly to daydream, that's vital for rediscovering play.
Unplugging.
Mariah's story of returning to sketching after 40 years illustrates this. Finding presence, connection with herself through that simple act. Simple exercises like just saying yes to spontaneity sometimes, or joining a group focused on fun, can help reignite this really vital aspect of life.
It really sounds like this whole journey isn't about black and white thinking at all. It's much more about nuance, discernment, especially in those really complex, tricky situations.
Absolutely. It's all about nuance. The book offers practical tools for those complex moments,
Yeah.
like brainstorming multiple options beyond just the obvious two choices.
Getting creative with solutions.
Yeah. Or contrasting two values wheels. That's a visual tool to help you map out your core beliefs and priorities in different scenarios, see which path truly aligns with who you want to be.
Okay, like a decision-making tool.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Jasmine's story demonstrates this. She's grappling with whether to let her ex-wife Leslie, who struggles with alcohol addiction, stay the night. A really tough call.
Very tricky.
She used an exercise called jumping forward in time, imagining the short-term versus long-term consequences of different choices. It helped her strike a nuanced balance, inviting Leslie to sleep on the couch. That aligned with her value of compassion, but didn't betray her own self-respect or boundaries around enabling.
Finding the middle ground.
Finding the path that honors both, yeah.
So what does all of this ultimately mean for the joy of giving? Does that change when you stop people-pleasing?
Fundamentally, yes. Breaking the people-pleasing pattern is presented as a gateway to sincere, boundaried giving. Giving driven by genuine goodwill, not by guilt or obligation.
Giving from a place of want to, not have to.
Exactly. When you truly trust yourself to say no when you need to, your yes actually means something. It's authentic. Your giving, instead of masking resentment or obligation, becomes this open-hearted expression of care and compassion for others. So in this way, breaking the people-pleasing pattern allows us to experience the real joy of giving, maybe for the very first time. The joy of giving to others, and importantly, the joy of giving to ourselves. The author reflects personally that this journey leads to this unwavering self-trust and self-respect where the person you are inside finally matches the person you present on the outside.
Wow. Okay. We have covered so much ground today in this deep dive into stopping people-pleasing. It's amazing how pervasive this pattern is, where it comes from, and, well, having this comprehensive roadmap to finding your power and living with more integrity.
It's a lot to take in, but really valuable stuff.
It really is. And remember, this is a journey, right? A journey of self-discovery and honoring your true self. You've hopefully gained some profound insights today into identifying your emotions, your needs, setting those crucial boundaries, and also embracing those inevitable growing pains along the way.
It's definitely a process.
Our mission was to give you that shortcut to being well-informed, and we truly hope you found not just surprising facts, but also some really actionable insights you can use to reclaim your time, your energy, and your authenticity.
Hope so too.
So here's maybe a provocative thought for you to mull over as we finish up. If you were to fully embody your deepest why and truly live authentically, what unexpected joys might enter your life? And what new, thriving relationships might flourish that simply couldn't before?